Hey, you liberal fruitcakes! Border Patrol and messaging. Let's talk about it! Now, I know many of you have seen the Border Patrol video that the White House reposted with Venezuelan gang members being loaded onto a plane and deported back to Venezuela. And overlaid over that video, they had Closing Time by Semisonic, released in 1998, playing. Now, they snippeted a very specific part of that song, which says, "You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here." And you know what? What a great message! Now, I know many of you are upset, saying, these are people's lives, it's insensitive. You're justifying gangs. You're justifying violent criminals being deported. You're justifying people who entered this country without permission being deported. This is a losing issue for the Democratic Party. I've said it once, I said it again. The Republican Party and the vast majority of Americans who believe immigration is a real problem are only saying it's a real problem when it comes to illegal immigration. Not legal immigration. Legal immigration is the backbone of this country. Now, I can already hear you saying, what about the people who are here legally and protesting and getting their green cards revoked? If you are not a U.S. citizen, you still have the rights of freedom of speech. However, if you sympathize with violent offenders or engage in violent activity, you can have that green card and that privilege to be in this country revoked. And I don't know why you guys are getting so upset, right? Didn't Obama say something along the lines of, if you enter this country illegally, your chance of being deported just went up? But you didn't get mad at him. Now, a lot of you guys have expressed a concern of due process. Well, under the Alien Invasion Act, if you enter this country illegally and are not a U.S. citizen, you can get deported. Now, you're going to say, that's only for wartime. No, it's not. I already talked about this before. It says, or in threats of national security. At the beginning of Trump's presidency, he established that illegal immigration was a threat to national security, signed it in an executive order, which he is allowed to do under the executive branch, which allows him to do that. And you know what? The legal theory is probably going to get upheld in the appellate court and the Supreme Court. And you're going to say, those are biased. What about the judge who just stopped him from deporting Venezuelan gang members at a district level federal court judge? You know how many federal court judges there are in the United States? A crap ton. If one state federal judge can stifle the president, nothing's ever going to happen in this country. And you're going to say checks and balances, separation of powers. This is within his powers. And if you really want due process, I think that's super important. That's great. It's quite simple. If you can show that you have permission to be here, if you can show you're a lawful U.S. resident or permanent resident or citizen of the United States, great. If you committed a crime, you're going to jail. If you cannot prove that you are a lawful U.S. resident, permanent resident, or have permission from the United States to be here, you get deported. Simple as that. Have a good day!